One Piece manga chapter 881. Now the hype is real. Personally, I got hyped just by the title of this chapter alone. A hype chapter always comes with a hype title. But onto the start of this chapter. Now the cover page, we get to see Baby 5 and Don Sai getting married, which is a follow-up to the last chapter. And I think we're moving on to the cover stories of the next Grand Fleet member, Captain, which is Ideo, as we're going from the first to last. So that's going to be good to see. Now the first bit of this chapter was basically about how valuable Jinbei was and his perfect connection he has with the Straw Hats. I've said this many times before. At this point, Jinbei 100% joins the crew, again proving himself to be the best addition to the crew right now. Now one thing we knew about Jinbei is that he's a pretty good helmsman. Apart from just having cool water abilities, fisherman karate, he's also good at controlling his ship, which we saw many times throughout the course of the series. During their escape from Impel Down to Marineford, Jinbei displayed that he was a master helmsman and that he was good at steering the ship, and that's something the Straw Hats are lacking right now. While the Straw Hats do switch roles from time to time, no one was actually good at steering and no one actually had that position on the ship. If anything, the Straw Hats only knew about the basics. Again, Jinbei joining the crew also gave him a perfect role that the Straw Hats lacked, and in combination with Nami, they managed to get out of the wave. At first, I thought Jinbei was, before the chapter, I actually thought Jinbei was going to use one of his fisherman karate or, one of his water moves to actually counter the wave, but it turned out to be way better than I expected. Again, no one predicted this because people were saying, how are they getting out of this? This was a good resolution to that problem. But with this combination they have now, Jinbei and Nami, sea fights aren't going to be as hard as they used to. We have to remember that when Luffy and Lot were coming to Zou, and because Nami wasn't there, it took them a week to get to Zou, while it took a day or two when Nami was on the ship. So Jinbei, being the great helmsman that he is, he probably knows about tricks about sea currents or things that might help the Straw Hats travel faster when the situation demands it. And this panel was definitely one of the highlights of this chapter. But how they gonna escape Big Mom is still not certain at this point, as Big Mom is directly right behind them with Ferrospace. But something will have to happen. But they definitely have a one-up against Big Mom right now, while Jinbei and Nami are on the ship. Then we move on to Katakuri versus Luffy. Hype. While it is hype, there's something shady about it, which I will talk about. Now in the mirror world, Katakuri is still trashing Luffy around for about 3 chapters in a row now. But at the end of the day, Luffy was able to relay his message to Nami so he could focus on Katakuri so that they can break the mirrors. But while Luffy is talking to them, Luffy makes this weird ass grin, which is something Luffy really never does in a fight, especially against someone like Katakuri. He's dealing with a first mate of a Yonko here, so he doesn't have time to play all of that. Again, it was weird, and I thought this was character progression for Luffy, where he didn't want the Straw Hats, he didn't want to make his crew worry about him fighting Katakuri, which could still be the case, but things hint at Brule actually imitating Luffy at this point to know what the Straw Hats were saying, because you could see Luffy holding his mouth throughout his fight against Katakuri. Like when Katakuri kicked him in the face, he was holding his mouth before that, and his speech got cut off at one part of the chapter, so something was definitely going on there. Again, this clearly points out to Brule, as she did something earlier in this arc in the Seducing Woods, where Brule was holding Luffy's mouth and she was controlling him using the mirrors, and there was a fake Brule, and the other Luffy kind of looks like Brule because they have similar eyelashes. So I don't know what's going on there. It looks like it could be either or, but it seems I'm thinking it's actually Brule using her mirror abilities to kind of like steal information from the Straw Hats. So the person Nami was actually talking to was Brule instead of Luffy, and she heard the part that Sanji was going to make the cake at Coco Island. What was it, in 10 hours? Again, this would allow them to dispatch someone to Coco Island to attack Sanji and Lola. Again, possibly gearing towards a fight that Sanji will get in this arc, because this is the year of Sanji. We haven't still gotten a fight for this man. Sanji has been lackluster as of recently, so this man just needs to get a shine. I mean, Luffy, this isn't Luffy's arc and he's doing the most, so I'm expecting Sanji to get a fight this arc. Please, Oda. Again, maybe it's Daifuku or Oven. A lot of people think one of these two are gonna show up, and I think there's a small possibility someone else shows up. Maybe Smoothie. A small chance Smoothie shows up, and Sanji has to fight a woman. I think that will play well in this arc. Maybe, I'm not sure, but at this point it is not exactly clear why Luffy was acting in that manner. Again, him not wanting his crew to worry about him, or that is actually Brule tricking Nami into giving them information about what's going to happen or where they're going to meet up. Again, her ability has been shown to manipulate mirrors however she pleases, so it shouldn't be far-fetched that is actually Brule. But at the same time, that could actually be Luffy doing his face like that, but I don't think so anyways. Now the setup at the end of the chapter, Katakuri versus Luffy. Now while they have been fighting this whole time, Katakuri this time seems seems to be ready to kill Luffy, given that he brought the trident out. A lot of people say a lot of people think that when he brings the trident out, he's taking things serious, and Luffy has his game face on, so it's getting really intense right now. But I'm not even sure how this is gonna end. There's literally no one that can save Luffy at this point in time. This is definitely a 1v1 we all wanted. You know, no Nami, no Rain, no Gamma Knife, none of that stuff is gonna be involved here. We're gonna see how Luffy fares against a first mate right now. 1v1, no help. Again, I'm not sure how Luffy's gonna beat Katakuri. Maybe he doesn't have to beat him, and there's like other resolutions to how this fight might end. Again, it has to be something other than Gear 4 if Luffy even wants to stand a chance against this man, and Luffy probably realizes this. Now, some people think it might be awakening towards his Devil Fruit awakening, but I said this in my last video, I think it's gonna be King's Haki related. We have to see something, maybe just a glimpse, and gives us what we might see in the future with Shanks. Now, how is it gonna work? I have no idea, but we also have to take into account that he's going to be there with Katakuri for at least 10 hours, or he has to stalk Katakuri for 10 hours. At least that's what I got from the chapter. But you know, the setup at the end was definitely hype. The next chapter is about to be flames, but we're on break next week, which is the bad part. I mean, Oda deserves his break. He usually goes on break every 3 or 4 chapters, sometimes even 2, but that's pretty much rare. But you know, Oda deserves his break, and the wait is gonna be tough. But yeah, overall, I give this chapter a solid 8 out of 10. I was actually on Brago's stream reacting to this chapter, so it was definitely a great chapter. Everyone pretty much gave it an 8 out of 10. I think this was great. The setup, progression towards the story, even though there wasn't any fights or anything, the story definitely had some progression, and that's what we're looking for in One Piece. But comment down below what you guys think. It is Pharaoh, and I will see you guys later. Peace.